Well, welcome back to another episode of the Run Disney Rundown. We're here to talk all things Princess Weekends. And it was a fun one for us.
It was actually a really nice weekend
Yeah.
overall. Good weather, good company, good vibes, good times.
Good times all around. But we are Lake and Katie, and of course, we are joined by Christy, who ran the 10K with us this weekend. Christy, how are we today?
Great. How are you guys?
We are doing pretty
good.
well. As always, we are live, so if you are watching live in the chat, feel free to comment, ask questions. If you ran the races, let us know what you ran and how your thoughts were on Princess Weekend. But why don't we go ahead and start where all weekends begin, the Expo. This was probably the least amount of time that we've spent at an Expo in a little while.
Yep. Yeah, we kind of went into the weekend with very low key plans. So we didn't go until Friday. We didn't get there until a little bit before noon, 11:30 maybe.
Yeah.
And we didn't buy anything, but we did look around, and it was fun.
Yeah, we had a good time as always. We've gotten into the habit of expos, like hanging out a little bit more. But Princess is almost always like our in and out weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Where we get there on the Friday, so we miss the first day of the expo, which is fine. We just went pretty big at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Did all of that expo and everything.
Yeah. And luckily, Lake's mom ran the 5K, so she had to go that first day, and she was able to grab one pin for us, and that's all we needed.
That was it. That was our merch for
one pin.
Yep, that was our race weekend merch. And is totally fine. Go ahead, Christy.
I went to the expo on Thursday night and I had a really nice experience. I think this is the one Run Disney race that I didn't even go into the Disney merch building at all. I think partially it was I spent a long time. I spoke to Brooke. We both love Brooke, or all of us. And so I spent some time talking to her. I was in the main building, and actually parking was a little bit rough. I went at 6 or whatever, and it took over 25 minutes or 20 minutes to park.
Wow.
It was slow. So fine, right? But it just meant I had a little bit less time. And I did some shopping in the booths in the expo. So I enjoyed that experience. So I just spent more time there. And obviously they corralled us around. Did you still have to walk when you went to pick up your bib the entirety of that building?
Yes.
Across the whole, yeah.
Which is the first time I've seen that. I don't know if they've used that for other races yet.
They used it at Marathon Weekend.
So it must be this year, this is how we're going to try to people control.
Which is nice because when we did Marathon Weekend last year, when we did my first Dopey and we had to go that first day, I mean, we did have to wait outside for a long time, which I think that day it wasn't hot, it wasn't raining, but I mean, Florida, you could have a really hot day, you could have rain and you're corralled outside
Sure.
And you can't really leave. So I think it's a good idea.
I think it makes sense for the first day of the expo. I think that they just as easily could just push people down those stairs then after that. Even in the evening, there wasn't anybody in there.
Yeah, that is true.
And we walk, it's like a stadium and you walk the complete outer, top rim.
I pointed out once because I hadn't walked that way before, so I was a little discombobulated. But once we got back to the stairs, I was like, oh, that was where we were right there. So yeah, you're completely right.
I was on the phone with somebody and they're like, "You're still walking?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm." It's the 5K before the 10K.
Yeah. And we're probably the similar vein with you as far as going into the official Run Disney merch haul. The only reason we really did was for purposes of our channel to see what was left. If we didn't have to film it, we probably wouldn't have gone in there. Sometimes we go in to see the photo ops and the characters and stuff. But Yeah. There was a decent amount of stuff left, I would say, on Friday. No pins, but shirts
They had
and
other pins. They didn't have metal
metal replicas.
replicas. They
Yeah.
had all
Okay.
the shoe design
Yeah.
pins, which was new
Yeah.
this year. Those were
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So I would say there's a good amount left on Friday.
There
If
was
you
a
weren't
lot of like
too quick.
sizing outages.
Yeah.
And the merch was different. So you brought up the shoe. They went with this whole like different organized shoe or different race design shoe for each of the.
Mm-hmm.
I was not as enthralled with that design personally. I did see that in some various like posts and chats, and some other people maybe it good of Disney to try something new. We
Yeah,
support
I really liked the shoe
I
design.
liked
Yeah,
I
them.
thought the pin shoes were like
sure.
super cute.
That makes sense
Um,
actually.
I don't love, and I usually don't love the shirts that they offer for purchase. It's just never been my type of style. But I thought like the design, the art itself was really cute. Honestly, if they had like a print or something with the shoes on it, like that I could hang on my wall, like that would be really cool.
That would be cool.
But I
So
didn't
I
get
thought,
the shoe on the shirt.
I get that one
Like
being a little weird. I
and
like the
then
pins a lot though.
like the weekend shirt that had all the different shoes, for me that was just not my style.
yeah,
And but it was good because it saved me a bunch of money.
yeah,
Running the one
different things for
race,
different folks.
exactly. Running the one race meant in general I would have spent less money at the expo. And so because for me, like when I do, everybody has their like pivotal race, right? And their like sort of accomplished race.
Hmm.
And some people it's a 5K and that's amazing. And some people it's a 10K and some people it's a half. And some is when they wait to do the full marathon or dopey. And so yeah, this one was a super fun race. I loved the tangled design. And we'll talk, but like I didn't need the merch from this weekend and
Hmm.
except for the included shirt, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, yeah, shirts. We picked up our shirts at the expo. The shirts were all really cute. I like all of them a lot.
Yeah, I like them.
Worn them all several times since then.
But only other big change to the expo is they moved the character
Hmm.
photos into the bib pickup, which I like that change. It definitely makes that section a little bit more crowded, but typically that section was like dead once you went through
Yeah.
the initial rush. So I think that was a good change.
Where were their characters there?
When you go to do your bib pickup, they had characters all along the one side. They moved them out of
Hmm.
the merch area and into that building.
Well, not at 6:45 on Thursday. They didn't.
They might have been gone by then because
Yes,
the characters don't keep the same hours as the whole expo.
sure. There was not a character to
That
be
that
had.
is that is posted somewhere too, what the
Oh,
character
good.
hours are. I
I
believe when you
know,
walk in.
yeah, I know they have signs like at the expo. I don't know if it's ever posted anywhere online, but usually someone snaps a picture of it and posts it in like a Facebook group and stuff. So you can usually find out. Or you can probably just post in one of those Facebook groups and ask who's there and see if they
Hmm.
post a picture of the sign. So
I
That's
want
a
to
good
say it's
idea.
usually until around like 3 o'clock, like open to 3 o'clock. They have the
depends on the
characters.
day too.
Yeah,
Yep. They did have the Cinderella coach back,
Oh,
yep.
on the
but
outside with the like footmen and stuff. That one's always a fun like princess weekend
yeah.
one. I've never seen them at a different weekend. I remember my first princess that I took a picture with them and I was so excited because I had seen them at like the other races and stuff or the other like people's at the time it was blog posts. That was like all that was out there. So that was always fun to see.
Yeah. Tony commented here about the characters. It does make it more accessible, especially if you're going on the first day. You don't have to do virtual queue to get
Mm.
character photos if
Yeah.
that's
That's
really what you're
nice.
trying to go in through. And I think it just like we went on Friday, so nothing was too terribly crowded. But I think on that first day, like the characters being in the exact same area as the merch always just makes that whole building like a very overwhelming experience.
Very.
Yeah.
And I
I
wonder
agree.
if it causes more people to like try to sign up for the queue than maybe like would otherwise. Maybe they're trying to control that flow a little bit.
I think it's a good change. They did still have the number signs in the merch area, but I think that was fine. Like those lines weren't too crazy.
Yeah. And they've been bringing those number signs like to like post
The finish, yeah.
but only on the last day, I think. I don't think they have them every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once the expo closes.
Yeah. So that's good too to know.
Yes, also a good change.
Yeah.
I do like seeing those out there at the end. But I think that is about all I have for the expo. Otherwise, I thought everything was good. I think the scale of the expo is a little closer to what it was in the pre-days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we're pretty much back to the size. Still, would love to see some larger brands.
Yeah. Yeah. More like individual like shoes or athletic wear, type things.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get it. It looks like On tried it a couple times. Sometimes they pop back up. They're like kind of here and there.
Yeah. I wonder if it's maybe not worth it in the end for like what they get out of it.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
need it.
realistically too, like I was listening to two of the guys that were working at the Fit to Run booth talk, and they really don't sell a ton of shoes for the booth they have. They're really, I think, probably making their bread and butter on things like goos, like little things that people forget,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Or things that people like if they're traveling like on an airplane and don't, want to deal with like security with the goos and stuff.
Yeah, like most people who are there already have shoes that they know they want or know they're wearing.
Something went wrong if they don't have their shoes, typically.
Which could happen.
Yeah, it does. Before the race weekend.
Yeah. I will say, like, when we traveled to Disneyland, like, the fact, since we have to actually travel for that race, the fact that I knew there would be an expo, and if I did, like, lose something or lose a bag or whatever, like, I was, like, comforted by the fact that I knew that I could probably get whatever I needed at the expo. So it is good that it's available.
Did you check your shoes in your bag?
For Disneyland, I wore one pair,
Okay.
like on the airplane, and I checked the other pair probably.
I checked mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Risky.
like to have a bunch of like carry-on stuff with me while I'm trying to navigate an airport. I love checking bags.
But this is why you brought my mug back, because you had the space and I had a
Yes.
carry-on for my trip.
And we
So
had 4 free checked bags because we flew Southwest, so we had plenty of room.
Yep. Well, why don't we move in? We can hit on the 5K just a little bit. None of us ran it. My mom was here this weekend. She ran it. I think everyone said the 5K was a lot of fun. The only big con was the character lines were like extreme.
Yeah.
Like someone had said they waited like 40 minutes.
Oh my
And I
God.
heard that from multiple people.
Yeah.
Like 40 minutes to an hour for some characters, which like I think a lot of people do the 5K and stop and are willing to wait that long because they know like they're very like loosey-goosey with your pace and like letting everyone technically finish and stuff. So I think it just has snowballed to the point where everyone will wait. So it takes a really long time to get through.
I mean, that's fine as long as they're still letting people finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, can you imagine the day where they suddenly decide that they're going to like sweep a 5K at Disney? People would riot.
They did shorten a 5K though. Was it?
They have, yes.
And didn't they just do it for marathon weekend? Or what?
They shortened the half for marathon weekend.
Well,
Springtime Surprise 5K, they shortened to
Yep.
try to get people done due to weather.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because
That
I know
one.
they like closed off.
Yeah, they took like an
portion of
out and
it.
back portion
Yeah.
out.
Which is probably what they would do for folks on the 5K if they somehow needed to get them to move. They would just cut a bit off and like tell them to go another way. Or I know that they will give people like a golf cart ride up to the finish or whatever. But I think mostly they just do kind of like the end of the night sweep that they do at the parks, and they're just like, all right. Or they'll pull characters. They'll put the characters away, and so people have no reason to stop. Is the other thing they'll do.
Yeah. Do we want to move into the 10K then?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the start of all of our running adventures for the weekend. I mean, overall, 10K I thought was good. We had the course where that takes you out to the highway and then you run to Hollywood. The section in Hollywood was shortened from what we typically see. You didn't go down the main boulevard there. You just did the quick in by Fantasmic and you were out right by those bathrooms there.
We didn't go in by Fantasmic. You went in by Rock and Roller Coaster.
Oh, you're right. Yep. You go around Tower and by Rockin'.
Oh yeah, and they did a picture over there.
Yep.
Yeah. We've had this course before. I know we've had like the short little Hollywood course before. It is kind of like a bummer that you only get like a little tiny snippet of Hollywood, but it's actually also kind of nice because if you're like doing the challenge, you get to do Hollywood, Epcot, and Magic all in one weekend, technically. But it's still fun. I like running down even the little tiny
Oh, it is fun.
section of
That's
Hollywood.
one of my favorite 10K courses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the few that you get 2 parks at
Mm-hmm.
least in. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. We had a blast. I thought it was fun. Wendy said it felt a little bit muggy,
Well,
It was weird because it was chilly, but it
but
was
humid
muggy.
still.
I
yes.
remember I was so, and everyone was really like cold afterwards because we got sweaty from the mugginess, and then we stopped running, and like the chill got everybody. I gave Christy my jacket because she was shivering too.
It was cold
Yeah,
after.
Yeah,
but
and
it
I
was good.
sweat all over it.
I ran really good. I ran a PR, which was fun.
Go,
Congratulations.
Katie.
Yeah, go me.
Celebrate Katie here for a second.
It was like a four. What was it? No, it was like a 2 minute, 1 minute PR.
Yeah.
It was
PR is PR.
small, but it was there.
It's PR. You rock.
Thank you.
You guys are cute.
Oh, and you got your first Run Disney Mylar. We love those Mylars. I was very sad they didn't give out any on Sunday because we needed to replenish our stash, but it's okay. We won't need them for springtime.
Yeah.
Definitely won't need them.
And people that like to order or that want them and maybe haven't run a race, you can order them from Amazon. So you can always, they won't say Run Disney, but you can order and then they're all folded up really nice and you can like shove them in a pocket.
What this guy has started doing, this was so nice that morning, I discovered he has started folding our Mylars and putting them into like little Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Which you
What
can
a
do. You
smart
just have
move.
to, like,
Yeah, as long as
like-
you fold them and kind of just like push the air out of them, you can get those Run Disney ones real small.
And I could fit it in my legging pocket. Like it was like super easy. So
What size bag? Like a sandwich bag?
like a
quart?
snack size Ziploc bag.
Stop it.
Was
A
it
snack?
size?
I believe it was either snack size or the sandwich bag size.
Well,
Either
we'll
way, it was small.
We'll experiment after this because we still have some, and we will post it and we'll show you what size bag it was.
Please do, because they're taking up space unnecessarily in the like corner of my closet, and that'd be so much better to just make it already compact. Smart.
Yeah, I thought it was smart. I had not thought to do that. He pulled it out of his bag, and I was like, that is genius.
Yes, and Lillian said here you can get them at most normal stores. They're either be in like the camping section as like emergency blanket or something like that, but typically you can get them for like as little as $1.
Mm-hmm.
And people watching or listening and not watching in the future, it was at Walmart, she said, in the camping section.
Yep.
So yeah, the humidity was definitely noticed for me. And then it was chilly. So it was funny because I went to the restroom after the race and I came out and one of the volunteers is like, "You're steaming." And I was like, coming out, steam was like literally coming off of me from the change in temperature. It was really funny. So are we ready to talk about the corrals for a minute?
You can talk about the corrals.
Okay, so I had a good race, and I will say that Lake registered me, and Lake putting my estimated time in, I was in corral A, and I just have to say, being in corral A makes me need to work on a proof of time because man, it's a magical place up there, Lake. It's a magical, mystical place of like space and no people, and you're finishing, it's still dark. It was like, I want more of that. I had a taste. I had a little taste, and now I need more. But I looked at photos, I guess not a but an and. I looked at photos from some other people I know running, and they were in like corral C or D, and maybe they stopped for photos, and there was a portion on the boardwalk and it was just a sea of people. And usually that's where I am. I'm often in a good corral C, occasionally a D, but and you know, there's something to be said for having to run around people the whole time. And I know I've sort of talked about this before, but if you are running and trying to work on your race, or at least run, even if you're doing a run walk, because I do a run walk now that I've aged, I have to do a run walk, and I'm going to be okay with this. So, but to not have to, like, I hardly had to move around anybody from A. And then seeing all the people, and like they were basically almost entirely across the corral. And so, and a lot of them were walking at that point. And I get it because it's exhausting and it's a lot, and you've gone 4 miles. And so, but A is in a magical, mystical place where you don't have to run around as many people. I literally ran around 2 people, I think, because there's so much room that there's enough room if people don't move to the right to walk or whatever, that you can just find your way, right? But yeah, it makes me want to be up there more, but B is just a reminder that if you are walking, if you could potentially try to move to the right a little bit to make the rate for the people running, just it's better on their bodies and on your body, and it's safer, frankly. Yeah, it's very different. And like the pinch point on the boardwalk, and where you even hit Hollywood, where you leave Hollywood Studios and you first start in the pinch point, and then you move up to right when you get next to the Boardwalk Hotel, and then you're moving on to go to the boardwalk. It from A, there wasn't crowded there either. I was like, this is a magical place. So I enjoyed it. That's all I have to say about that, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me in Disneyland. I was up in A for that one, and it definitely like feels so different and is a different experience for sure. So what actually that was one thing that might be interesting to talk about here for this weekend is we noticed that for challenge folks, they didn't do like split corrals the way they've done in the past, where like you did a 10K and a half, you might be in A and C, which is what happened at Disneyland for me. I was in A for the 10K, C for the half. It looked like for everyone this weekend, they just gave you one corral letter, and that was your corral letter for the weekend. So this weekend I was in C for the 10K and the half, which is fine. It's what I would have expected. It's what my time, what I, said my time would be. And I still got a PR with the 10K and C, but for that race and the half, which we'll talk about in a little bit, like especially because we're starting in the parking lot for both of them and not on the road, the way it was a few years ago, you do kind of, especially in those further back crowds, you hit crowds and it takes a lot longer for the crowds to dissipate. The further back you are, when you start on the nice wide highway, you can spread out pretty quickly, but now you're going on those like lanes to exit the parking lot, and then you are going off overpasses, and you don't get a wide section to spread out, especially on the 10K. I will say though, one thing I thought was interesting, I went and I checked this because I wanted to see, starting in A in Disneyland and see here how much extra weaving I might have done with like the extra distance that like my Garmin would measure. And actually the distances were exactly the same. It was 6.39 on both races. Don't know how that happened because I definitely weaved a lot in this 10K, but maybe I like weaved and then straightened out and was able to go further. I don't know, but it was interesting for sure.
My Disneyland mile markers were shorter for the first half of the race for the half marathon.
Like that happen.
So where I apparently was cutting the line quite on it, but in the end, I had run more than
some cones.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I promise. I was in the course.
Maybe you hit your watch slightly early too. That could be, maybe.
All of those things could be, but also I feel like that course was a little shorter in the beginning because like I would either hit it at the time that mile marker was that my watch would tell me I was in the mile, and I weaved around I was in a very crowded Disneyland place for the half. And so yeah, I I don't know if I can totally trust your two 10K comparisons because I do feel like that Disneyland course in the first half was a little bit short,
Maybe. Could be.
but who knows?
I almost always run long, so
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting that
consistently.
they were exactly the same. I didn't think they would be to
Yeah.
the .01.
But yeah, we do have fun medals from
This
this week.
so cute. This medal was the reason that I did this race.
This is my
If
favorite
it,
medal of the weekend.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
super
if we're
cute.
being honest, I
Yeah.
literally wasn't going to sign up because we went to Disneyland because I do get a little bit of weekend race exhaustion, like to to get to the point of running the race and then having to train again for the next one because this was a wine and dine and a Disneyland and a which I know there's tons of people that do all these weekends over and over again, but I get a little bit of a mental
Burnt out.
race run Disney race weekend exhaustion. But then I saw that medal and I was like, I'm gonna have to register.
We're right there with you. I was saying we both said this to each other, but it was almost like we were getting a little bit of like race weekend burnout leading into this one, which is one reason why we took it. Like we didn't go till Friday, you know. We took the half really easy. Like we didn't, push ourselves because we were feeling a little bit burnt out with that extra Disneyland travel, all of that thrown in there. It has made the beginning of our year very hectic. With some other stuff like non-races that we've been doing too. But so if you just go into it to have fun and not worry about it, turned out pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, we had a great time. I did not run hard either day.
No, I
We
ran hard.
chilled and had a good time. Did all the characters, all the filming, all of that fun stuff.
I didn't run hard and I had like hour before other people finished of sitting there.
Yes, but this is on the half day. Cause he doesn't run with his phone. So I usually know about like when he'll be done and I'll like message him and just check in and say how I'm feeling and stuff. And I messaged him and I didn't realize he didn't finish until like almost like 30-40 minutes after I like thought he was gonna finish. And I messaged him and I was like, you are running slow. Because I know when you would have finished.
We had a couple bet. Well, we'll get into the half.
Okay.
Do we have anything else for the 10K?
I kind of want to share Wendy's comment, and I can't do that, so you have to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So Wendy stated, for those listening and not wanting to read the screen, I was in D, and so many people jumping in front of me, stopping right in front of the photographer, holding us up, not fun. And honestly, it isn't fun. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous to the runners behind you. And I get it because you want to have a great picture from a photographer. And like comparing Disneyland to this experience too. Like Lake looked at my photos, I guess, before we did this. And he's like, oh, you had some good race photos. I was like, because it was freedom up there. There's just space for the photographer to actually take a picture of you. I tried to do a jump photo. It didn't work, but that's okay. I could do it a different race. But in Disneyland, like none of my photos came out until the finish line, like one actual photo and then the finish line photos because there were so many people. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't even see the photographer because you would be like, you were on people the whole time. And then you're like, oh, there was one. So it makes a big difference. And I get that you might want your photos, but please don't pull somebody else's meniscus by like jumping in front of them. It's really dangerous to make that like complete shift in where your body thinks it's going.
Yeah, I didn't see too much. I think of it as like photo pass fails on the 10K day, but I saw so many in Magic on the half day. And I think those are like the first ones you encounter on that race is when you get to Magic. And I don't know if people were just kind of like going crazy, but for one, if you run and you stop 1 foot in front of the photographer,
not going to
be a good picture. And I saw so many people doing that. And it was, and crossing in front of people, it was really bad on the day of the half for me. At the beginning, I feel like people like figured it out, or maybe I just got away from the crowd of people who were like tending to do that. But yeah, that was the thought that went through my head, is like, photo pass fails.
Yeah.
Lots of pictures of
it's not
just
going to be
your
a good
torso.
picture. It's not going to be a good picture of you, and you're ruining the picture for anyone else around you too. So it doesn't work.
it boils down to, even with the pictures and the running, like, try to be respectful of your peers or of
Yeah.
your, fellow participants in the race.
I don't
When
know if it's been shared on like other social media platforms. I saw it on TikTok, and it was actually like posted by like the Disney Photo Pass page, which they have one, and it was a like Run Disney Photo Pass guide by the Photo Pass people. Like they went in the morning, like a morning beforehand, and they were like pretending to run parts of the course and like telling you like the best way to pose and the way not to pose and like what to do and how far. So I should see if I could find that. Maybe we could share it to our pages.
Yeah,
But
that would be great.
that's like what people really should listen to, because that'll help you get a good picture. It'll remind you not to maybe always do your arms out like this, because you will maybe hit people or block them, which is bad enough, but actually hit people. I saw that actually happen to several people. Yeah.
Carrie said, I only did the half, started in C for me, but people around me were so great, respectful overall, watching out for each other. It was nice to see a lot of nice folks helping
Yeah.
that out either.
That's
And we should say that is
generally-
more of the like consensus
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah.
Well, with
Of
that many
course-
runners, for sure. It's not like
I think
just
it's the sometimes the bad behavior or like the accidents stick in your memory more, but I will say overall, yes, I think people are very respectful and helpful and encouraging and lots of like positive words. I see that happen all the time.
I love that.
I wish I was braver to like talk to people. I would love to like make friends and like chat with people.
I talk to people the whole time.
I'm so shy. Well, I will say one time at one race, I did hear someone like I think complimented a woman or like called her a princess or said she was doing a good job, and then kept going. And then the woman was like, why is she talking to me? I don't know her. Like she said that, and that like sticks in my brain every time, even though I think that's not the norm of what people think. I think it might have just been a woman having a bad day. But that is always in my memory, so now I'm scared to talk to people.
They probably say that about me all the time. Why is she talking to me? But like reading the shirts. And so I loved comment on people's shirts. And usually when I'm doing my run and then walk and run, we hit the same people. We keep passing the same people. They pass, I pass, you pass, right? Because even if they're not running the exact same interval, if you're into the race already and you're near each other and everybody's doing an interval, there's going to be quite a while where everybody's just going to keep passing each other. So there were some really cute really cute shirts. And then one lady was like, her shirt had something to do with actually reading the shirt and commenting to her about it. And this was all the way on the boardwalk. She's like, you were the first person who actually commented. And I was like, how is that possible this far in? But so anyway, I don't know. To me, especially these races where I'm running by myself, that does make the miles go a little bit faster, just to have a couple of quick, moments of interacting with other people. And I love that. For the most part, Run Disney is very supportive of that.
Yeah.
Katie, talk to somebody next time.
I will. I'll be
I want to hear back after springtime.
I remember during both marathons, I think, folks who came up and started chatting with me. And it was like really nice, especially I was like later when, it starts to get really hard. And I remember, I think both times they were like old, like much older women, like probably in their like,
I don't know if you should,
60s,
I was going to say, I don't know if
70s,
you should finish saying that.
like they were, and I, in chatting with them, it was like their 25th marathon and they've been doing this a long time, and it was like they were still like back with me, and I was like, this is great, please keep talking to me and distracting me from doing this. So it is nice. I'll try to be brave.
You can do it.
I'm very sorry that Cindy got hit in the stomach, but the picture sounds great.
You gotta put that up. Like,
yeah.
So she said she gets hit in the stomach. Photographer caught it, so it's a great series of photos. My goodness,
I hope it didn't throw her off her groove too much.
Diver Down family says that they agree with me. They get so much energy back from these races with the interactions, and they talk to everybody all race long. So
I love
yes.
that.
Yeah.
I
And
eavesdrop on other people's conversations all the time.
Oh, that's good too. Mhm.
That was very much like the story of my
That's how
half,
we.
which we can get
Yeah.
into here too,
Yeah.
which was one of the cool things about slowing down. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add
Other
about the
than
10K.
snack boxes were really great this time because they had some had Skittles and some had M&Ms, and I love M&Ms. And both times I got boxes with M&Ms. So
Ooh, good job. Look at you're lucky.
yes.
Cheese and M&Ms.
Some of your people in your group might have wanted to fight you for that. As for a gluten-free person, there were less gluten-free options than some other snack boxes, but that's okay. It was
Yeah.
still, we can eat plastic cheese if we want. And the tortilla chips are safe. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
We've gotten into the habit. I don't even open them till the next day. So I think I opened one when I saw you eating M&Ms, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
there's M&Ms."
yeah. Yeah, our group was real into those M&Ms. That was funny.
Yeah. All right. Lake wants
Yep.
to go to the half.
We can
I
move
get
into
it.
the half.
He's sending me the eyes.
I mean, I'm good either way. We're all just chatting. Yeah, I mean, moving to the half next day. Again, I felt like this weekend, like in total, was just very smooth.
Yeah, I would say smooth.
I don't really have like any major issues with anything that happened.
Yeah.
You know.
I do kind of miss the road start, not 'cause
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the walk. I could do without the mile walk. I wish there was a faster way to get there. But like I mentioned earlier, the road start does help with the crowding further back. But, it's not terrible, but you kind of have to go with the slow flow for a little bit. I did try something different this time, and I started over closer to the left because I knew that there would be a slow flow, and I've always been scared because that's where the fast people are supposed to be, but it turned out to work out perfect for me being over there.
Yeah, I think off the start it's just hard because you have that left-hand turn there, so there's always going to be kind of that slow down right off the start.
Yeah, it's not like a sprint start, which you probably shouldn't do for a half anyway. So it was a good like steady bit, but it not fast. But I didn't have to walk, so that was nice.
Yeah, do definitely miss that highway start. Just having 4 lanes of a highway or whatever it is to spread out right at the beginning is very nice instead of going into that one lane like overpass where you have to go now.
Yeah.
However, I was excited to get to run this course because we have not ran this course in a year since we missed it for Walt Disney World Half.
Yes.
So this was the first time since we didn't do Dopey or the marathon. We missed all like the castle section and stuff. So yeah, I was very excited to just run and get to Magic. As we said, me and my group ran slower than usual. It was like a 2-hour half marathon.
So slow. Oh my goodness.
But it was fun
So
though because we got to
embarrassing.
see a lot of people and like talk to a lot of people who we just don't normally like get to see on course. So same thing, like
Yeah.
we spent a lot of time just like chatting with people as we were running, stopping for characters, all of that fun stuff. We like fully stopped for bathroom breaks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We were chilling and kind of meandering around.
Yep. And similar vibe for me. I didn't think that I would feel like running this one very quick. And after I was kind of feeling the day before, like running that one pretty hard. So the oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so I took it pretty easy. It kind of I don't even think I had my intervals set up on my watch. I think I literally just kind of ran when I felt like running and walked when I didn't.
Vibe run.
Yeah, a vibe run is what I call it. But I run with my music and what I feel like made really still like I will say I'm very proud of myself for this. Like my vibe run is still like way faster than my runs from the past like I don't know 4 or 5 years have been. So it's a good sign that training and improving and stuff. And I used to like worry about getting picked up when I ran like this, and now I'm like I have no worries about that whatsoever, and it is really nice. I also stopped and used the restroom, which I usually don't do during a race, but it was nice to just be able to go into the it was the restroom that's in that not Fantasyland, Frontierland tunnel. That is probably the best one to stop at in my opinion.
Yeah, if you don't know it's back there or they're not announcing it, it's usually not too busy.
Well, they were announcing it. There was like a caller. The cast member was like, "There's a bathroom back here. But I think it's a really good one because it's like one of the last ones in Magic Kingdom, and everyone else stops at like those
The
first
early
ones.
ones.
So you get a lot of people out of the way. So it's a good one.
Smart.
And it's very big.
Yeah, Wendy said the characters were amazing. This whole weekend, I thought. I mean, Princess in general, we tend to get a lot of face characters because the princesses are typically face style characters. So you do get a lot of good characters, quite a few different like groups with like princes or
Yeah.
entourages of characters.
Yeah, I was about to say several like groups and not just singles, which are really cool. Did they have I know that all the fairies and everyone they had them at the 5K, but did they have them at the half too?
I don't remember seeing the fairies.
Okay, they've been at other races, so I couldn't remember if that was from this weekend or not.
No,
But
Wine and Dine was when we got like the whole Aurora cast in one photo.
That's
that
really
was
cool.
pretty cool. But yeah, characters overall were awesome. We had a couple without the photo pass, the like selfie only style.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean is fine.
Yeah, I think that's probably a cool thing to mix in. Usually the ones that are selfie only, they have them on some kind of like
stage
set
or platform.
Or a stage. So they had Ray. She was up on kind of a platform.
And then what was the other one? It was on the way to Magic. It was over there on the right. I can't think of who it was, but it was super cool.
It
too.
was Mirabelle and Isabella.
Oh, Mirabelle and Isabella.
And this was,
yes.
I think from what I've heard, this was Isabella's like character debut. Like they have not had Isabella out before, which I thought was really cool. And they just need to cast a very, very strong woman to be Louisa, and we have the trifecta, and it's perfect.
That might be the hardest one.
I don't know. There's some like really muscular women out there. They just need to come want to work for Disney.
But yeah, character stops though. They were awesome this race. I will note though, when you went through Magic, there were like spots where there's almost always characters that there weren't, like through the first half of Magic. Yeah, Tomorrowland, there's usually always someone there.
But we actually thought about this, and we think it is because there's not a good like female or princess character that goes with Tomorrowland's backdrop, and they're with their characters, they're very strict about like what they appear against, which is why you have so many cool backdrops and stuff. So I don't think they knew who to put in Tomorrowland, maybe.
Yeah, and then usually there's someone by the teacups.
Yes, and I don't remember. He kept asking me if the teacups were running when I went by, and I have no memory of if the lights were even on. Which I'm sure they were. But in some of the races recently, they've like been running and they'll let people ride them. Lake tried to ride them, but the cast member did not understand what he was saying and thought he was asking for water.
Yeah, it was a super weird interaction because I just, all I did was ask was like, oh, is it running? Can we ride it? And they're like, no, we don't have water. It's like, that's not what I asked. They're like, no, we don't have water. I was like, okay.
Okay. No teacups running. Oh yeah, Mickey and Minnie were up on their
they were on the float
float
right when you went down Main Street.
I don't know if that was the best spot to put them. It was kind of a cluster at the end of Main Street having Mickey and Minnie there. I missed them being at the entrance of Magic. I wish they would have put them there, but I wonder if maybe they get traffic jams of people stopping to take pictures even though they can go to the side. I don't know.
I like when they're up top.
I miss having someone waving at me coming into Magic Kingdom. That is a very pivotal, fun thing that they do.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, course was pretty standard princess course. We talked about the change at the start. We did get the return of going under Spaceship Earth for the finish, which is very nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You didn't have to run a mile around Guardians.
It did make it feel like Epcot felt so like quick, and then you're right at the finish once you leave Epcot, whereas like before, you leave Epcot and then you still have like over half a mile to go. And
it literally makes the race feel more energized with that, because when you do the around Guardians finish, you feel like the race is over half a mile before it is.
Yeah.
Because you have a very bland half a mile until you get to the finish. Whereas with this finish, you're going out and you're basically running towards Spaceship Earth for like a quarter mile all around the new section of Epcot there. And then you're going around that. And then all of a sudden you make a left and a right and you're at the finish.
Yeah.
So it's all just like, it feels much more dynamic. It It's got a good flow to it.
Yeah, yeah. Just like a good it's pretty.
It is pretty,
like
yeah.
in the backstage with like the dumpster and the random wood pallets and all
And the
things.
smoking section.
Oh, is there a smoking section? I never noticed that. Well, and then you also get the cast member crosswalk.
Right.
My favorite is on the other side, the wood only dumpster.
Oh yeah,
That's always there.
we should start taking a picture of the wood only dumpster. It is there every time, and I always see it, and I'm just like, wood only. I always read it every time.
I feel like everyone's gonna listen to that part and be like, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
only.
Like, the wood only dumpster.
Oh,
we all know that."
Someone's gonna be that costume one year, and then they can take a selfie with the wood only dumpster. It'd be funny. That's a really good costume idea. Just random Run Disney things that you would only know if you've done Run Disney. That's a good idea. Another thing that was cool about running around Epcot that usually happens at Princess, and I just always love seeing it, is it's like the beginning of flower and garden time. So you get to see
the topiaries.
You get to see the topiaries out in the parks, but you also see some backstage stuff that they pulled, and they had like some plants and some other things backstage, like getting ready to put out for flower and garden, and that's always fun to see. It's pretty, it's flowers, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, great half marathon.
And
both
great
races
weather.
were great.
That was another thing. When I was once I left Magic and I was like trying to decide what I wanted to do for the rest of the race, since there's it's just road and what vibe I wanted, I was like, the weather was so nice, and like the sun was starting to come up, and I was like, this is a beautiful day. I'm just gonna vibe and enjoy and look around, and it was great.
It was great. I'll pop the medal up here for you, and then
It's very cute.
yes, all the medals this weekend were nice.
I think this one's my favorite. The Tangled is tied or right behind it.
The Tangled's my favorite. I think it's my favorite because it's the first race that Tangled hasn't been the 5K, which we don't usually do.
Yeah, so we've never gotten a Tangled medal before.
Yeah. It's like we use Frozen many races over and over for different distances, but we can't use Tangled for more than the 5K.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or I love Olaf, but why is he front and center? This is Princess Weekend. This should be about women empowerment. We're just at the start of
and not only that, he swings
to cover them up
to cover the other ones.
Rude.
I don't know.
I think the ladies should have been first. That's my opinion about that medal.
It's
fine.
Snowman. I don't know if he has a gender technically.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a snowman.
There's an argument
Just
to be
kidding.
made there.
And you even said he's a snowman. He's a snowman.
I gendered him as I was saying that. No person.
Wendy says Frozen was my favorite medal.
Oh, good.
Good. I'm glad. They were all really good.
Yeah, those were nice.
And I wasn't going into the weekend, I was a little iffy on the art. I couldn't decide if I really liked it or not. But in the end, I do like the kind of coloring book. I think it all came together very well, and I like the shirts and everything. I'll be wearing them a lot.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the 5K medal, but the Ariel 5K medal was really cute too.
I liked the double-sided action. That was really cool.
Yes. Well, if anyone has any questions, we will chat here for a couple more minutes before we kind of bring it out. Like we said, overall good weekend. We stayed at Coronado for this weekend, which has been somewhere we've stayed for many Run Disney weekends.
Yeah, I think we're going to be switching it up the next couple of weekends, though.
Oh?
Our plans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are doing Saratoga for Springtime Surprise. Saratoga is where a lot of our friends stay. So it will be nice to stay somewhere and be walking distance. We did it last year. Actually, the last 2 years
It's kind of been our springtime surprise place, which is kind of nice. We're there since it's all three races. It's a slightly longer weekend than the ones where we just do two. So it's nice to kind of have the variety of options with Disney Springs and some other things that we can get to more easily from there.
We tend to use the kitchen too if we get and
I think we
big enough room.
I think we are gonna try to do
we'll do some cooking and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but we had so much fun last year because everyone was there. We all hung out at the pool and that sort of stuff. So it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And then I think we're gonna try to do tentatively Fort Wilderness again for next year's
for
marathon
marathon
weekend.
weekend, which we've also done for quite a few Run Disney
Yeah,
weekends, and
that'll be
it's
fun.
always been fun. But yeah, Christy, I did have one thing for you. You, I think, since Disneyland switched shoes.
I did. The Cumulus, right? The A6.
A6.
Um, is Cumulus the type, I think?
That
I
sounds
feel
right.
like. Yeah, I like them. Katie, I thought that so I went to switch. I'll tell the story and then I'll go back to tell you what I was going to tell you, Katie, because people listening they need to know why this story
Okay.
is happening. So my Katie and I talked about this in one of our races. Our big toe, or I mean pointer toe, how do you call it? The second toe
The
is
second
second
toe.
toe is
Yeah.
longer than our
Big toe.
thumb toe, big toe. I don't know. I gotta work it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, words are hard today. So, and my pointer toe, second toe has been like rubbing on the top. Like I can like watch my feet and that toe like just flips up when I walk, like in sandals in my house. So like my toenails were getting bruised and just like I was going to lose those nails through all this train. Like, so, and I still worry about those nails, but either way, I went to Track Shack in Orlando, which is just, they were the host of the marathon trials. They are absolutely amazing.
They do the timing
Originally,
for Run Disney.
yep, they do the timing. Originally, my orthopedic doctor that I went to about my foot, because I have like a heel spur and arthritis, aging is amazing. They sent me there because they said, go to them. They are the best at helping you pick the shoe for you. So at that point, they put me in Ghosts, the
Brooks
Brooks
Ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah,
Brooks
that's what
Ghost. And I do still enjoy that shoe. I still have a pair that I still am wearing because they weren't dead yet. And then I have this new Asics. And the lady that fit me for those said, because now this toe problem, so my heel, we still have to work on, make sure there's a shoe that's good for that. But with the toe, she thought maybe it would be a little bit wider of a box.
Mhm.
And I think on some level it is, but I also am going to try to switch to tying my shoes where you go a little bit wider, like you don't crisscross at the bottom. So that's going to be my next thing. But I do enjoy those Asics sneakers, and they were like not super squishy because there's some of them they put me in. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm like, it's like a teeter totter thing. I can't walk in this. But like, there's a nice bounce. Yeah, for me, I really do enjoy that shoe.
Yeah. It's really cool once you started running, once you run enough and like understand how things feel enough. This is a conversation like and I had recently where I feel like I'm now at the point in running where I can really tell differences between shoes, how they affect my run and not like anything else affecting my run. Because like I went through a like kind of a similar shoe journey to figure out that like the Brooks are what worked for me and these help with the toe issue. The same toe issue that you had
Yep.
in the shoes that work for me, you had to find the shoes that work for you because everyone's foot is different and built
Right.
differently and stuff. But I had that same thing like my first couple years running like that I lost toenails, especially on that toe. That's both toes on both feet. And now I have like a permanent callus there.
Oh yeah, same.
But I haven't had the black toenail issue
Yeah.
or whatever and all of that with these shoes. So I used to think that that was something you just had to deal with, like that was going to happen no matter what when you're running. And for the most part, things like that on your feet, I don't think that's true anymore. So don't settle.
Right.
Be willing to find what works for you.
I've been trying to test, and I can't quite determine the answer yet, but between the different socks, because I run in Bombas athletic socks. And so they have a thick pair and they have a thin pair. And I do switch between those sometimes. And so I need to test to see though which one, like if I get a slight like little rub blister on longer runs, like because my feet sweat and all the things. I just have to like determine that for me, what the best shoe is or what the best sock is.
Yeah.
But it's all process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lake made a
Lillian
face
said
though about my socks.
Asics. I've been wearing Asics Keanu's for 15 years, longest relationship of my life.
I went through a Keanu period.
Then Wendy said she just got the Mach 6s. I also just picked up a pair of the Mach 6s.
Well, you didn't pick up the
Well,
pair of the Mach
Katie
6s.
picked them up
I
for
picked
me.
them
Nice.
up for him.
Oh, nice wife.
Yes.
The whole
I
ordeal
closed
that
last night at
happens.
work and I was like, hey, I noticed
Oh,
these
wow.
are showing in stock at.
Just picked him up.
Yeah. And then, of course, we didn't end up getting up to run this morning anyways.
Well, no, he didn't end up getting up to run.
Oh, good. Good job, Katie, for your road.
Someone encouraged me to go back to sleep, though.
After like 45 minutes of trying to wake him up, I said, you know what? Go back to sleep.
But yeah.
I want to say one thing about the shoes because I didn't know this. And just in case there's newer runners out there, if you are running multiple days in a row, Lake has and Katie have taught me that you should alternate your shoes because it helps with the cushion, right? Is this what we say?
Yeah. For longer distances, especially, like you do squish them down a little bit.
Yeah. And, if some people are a little bit curvier and things like that, just let your shoes have a little bit of time to bounce back. So if it's within budget and something you can do, just, alternate which shoe. I didn't know that. And I think that's a really actually useful thing. And then if you are going to a RunDisney weekend and you have multiple races, it's a good idea to have a second pair of shoes anyway in case it rains, which is definitely something that can happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I typically will wear a different shoe for at least like for a 2-race challenge. Like I wore the Boston 12s for the 10K, which are Adidas, and then I wore the Mach X's for the half.
Yeah. I wear the same style of shoe. I just have to, and usually what happens is I'll buy one about halfway through the life of each shoe, and whichever one is the like fresher of the two shoes is what I'll wear for the longer distance, and then the older one for the older one. Sometimes it's timed out where I'm like, oh, done with that shoe, and I'll just let Disney dispose of them for me. But not usually. That's only happened I think twice.
Yeah, but, I've definitely done that too. Yeah, and I didn't want to buy a second pair of the Asics until I ran in them a bit to make sure, is my foot comfortable in it? And am I comfortable? Am I getting any pain as a result? So yeah, now I'll call. And what's great about Track Shack, if you ever decide, if people out there, because you could get fitted on your RunDisney weekend. Let's say you live out of state. You could take the half hour, go out there, easier if you have a car, obviously, but and then you just call them up because I've done this before because even in Orlando, I don't want to drive out to Track Shack. It's just too far for my liking. So unless I'm getting fitted, I can call them and they'll ship me my shoes and they're very quick. Nice. So I definitely recommend testing it out. And obviously you can go to your own local, like real running store and get fitted as well.
Yeah. Our store is great with fitting too. They are who got me into the Ghosts, and I love them so much. Best shoes I've ever worn. I'm very excited for the Ghost 15s to finally go on sale. I will be buying all of them. Size 8.5.
Buy them up.
Yep. Send me Brooks Woman size 8.5. I will take them.
Yes, I did that with the Hoka Mach 4s. I had boxes of them.
Literally. Yeah.
I literally skipped the 5 basically, even though the 5 and the 4 were like very, very similar. But Scott says, trying first registration attempt for Wine and Dine next week. Planning this for months. Good luck.
Yeah, quick registration tips. Try to have the day off of work so you can.
That does make it easier
at 10 o'clock Eastern. And then
for your friends,
skip questions that you don't have to do. Don't buy merch. I think that's
you can pay and hit the back button on your browser and it'll take you right back to registration if you need to get multiple people in. And we always recommend doing the payment for one person at a time so that that registration is locked in, because you could sit there and type 4 registrations and not pay and go to pay at the end and you lost all your registrations.
The only situation in which maybe not to do that is if you are
taking a kid.
I was about to say, if you are doing a kid and a 5K and otherwise you wouldn't do the 5K, then maybe try to do them together because then you'll know both of them got it or not. don't register your kid first, and then you might not be able to run with them.
Right.
I've seen that happen before.
It's like putting on your mask on an airplane.
Yes, help yourself before you help your child. Also, keep in mind, I'm going to say this because I've seen this happen a lot more recently. The challenge for Wine and Dine does not include the 5K, so don't register your kid for the 5K and yourself for the challenge thinking that you can run the 5K with
Smart.
them. I've just seen that happen a lot recently, and I think because of the
Disney has
Springtime
made it
challenge.
way more confusing with the
Yeah.
challenges
Mhm.
because you've got 2 challenges that do include the 5K now and 2 that don't.
Yeah. So just throwing that out there for whoever may not hear that.
Dopey.
Dopey includes it,
Got
and
it. And then springtime.
Springtime includes it.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh no, that's kind of silly that someone didn't realize that." And then I've seen it happen multiple times. I was like, "Okay, it's because RunDisney does not always make it clear.
It's not consistent.
Consistent, yeah."
And then you're just gonna write down. You have to register me because I'll be in Europe on
Yes.
some sort of crafting excursion during that registration. So
I think it's
add me to your list.
Yeah, and that's the weekend of the 12th should be registration. I actually, fun fact, have it on my phone homepage. I have all
To
the
register
registration.
Christy.
No, I have all the registration dates
he has
and times.
he has the Disney
Wow.
calendar as his photo. Huh.
It's like the first thing that pops up.
He doesn't have me as his photo.
Mm-mm.
Well, I don't have an actual photo on here. I just happen to have it set on my homepage there.
That's okay.
Because it is something I look for enough.
Oh yeah, he looks at me all the time, so he doesn't need to have a photo.
No. Well, it's nice to have when I write my work schedule and stuff.
No.
That is smart.
I'm like, is there a registration this week?
Yeah,
Oh, I guess
you
I'm
know.
taking that day off.
Yeah. You know what day he didn't take off?
Birthday?
That's
Anniversary?
not really my fault.
What day?
Our anniversary.
anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
is
It's
a week
coming
from
up.
today.
My assistant asked for that weekend off, and I just took a weekend off to run these races.
It's
so I think it's justified in.
That's
I
right.
just like having stuff to tease you about. I don't really care.
But we're going to dinner in a couple weeks for your anniversary.
Oh,
That'd be
yes,
fun.
we did tentatively.
I was
plan
going to
that
say,
as well.
Katie probably doesn't know that yet, but.
I just show up.
But yeah, any other last minute questions, thoughts, any other shoe talk
Comments?
before we take this out here? I'll give you guys just another minute or two here.
What are you wanting to run for Wine and Dine, Christy?
The challenge.
The challenge? Okay, cool.
Please.
We'll try to get you in that. I might try to do the 5K. Do you want to try to do the 5K?
We can do the 5K.
I really like Muppets.
Oh, I know. I thought about that too, but I think I decided to just not do the Muppets for that weekend. Oh, you know why too? It's Halloween.
Oh,
The
yeah.
5K starts on Halloween. I have to wait. I might have a friend that's going to do
Is it?
the 10K
The
with
5K
me
is
that
the day
weekend?
after
Yeah.
Halloween.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
that
the
that's
morning
Friday.
after Halloween.
Got it. More
We'll probably register for the challenge. Go back if the 5K is still open. Go for it. If not,
after you
no
register
worries,
Christy
but
for
yes,
the challenge.
yes, we'll get you. Don't worry, we will get you registered before our supplemental races.
No, it's your races. You get to register what you want.
Wendy says, hope to bump
Yes.
into you all at springtime.
Me too.
Wendy, I'm sure
night.
we will find you at some point during the weekend.
Look at Wendy.
Yes, Wendy was at our meetup at Disneyland and made these adorable pens.
Is that Flick from Pocahontas? Okay, it's kind of like a different shape. It's
Mhm.
very cute.
I
Adorable.
love, by the way, this pen so much. It writes
It's a good pen.
amazingly,
I have
and
one in the
it's
kitchen.
so much fun.
Yes,
So-
they write so smooth.
It does. So I keep it right there.
Oh, she's bringing more for springtime.
Carrie says, thank you all for your videos. I appreciate it so much. And Tony says, I could talk for shoes for hours, but thanks for doing these wrap-ups. Glad to finally have made one live.
Wendy,
that
I'll
does
just say-
remind me.
Oh, well, you
Go
ran
ahead.
both of your list of who you met.
Yeah.
My son is running, my 10-year-old is running the 5K with me at springtime, his first RunDisney race. I'm so excited. So everybody that's around that morning will get to see him. I'm sure he'll be quite tired, but that's okay. And then he has to go to school. Like,
How cool though. He can go to school
Right?
and be like, I went to Disney and ran a race this morning.
He's so cute. We've already
That'd be so
discussed our
cute.
outfit and then and what we're gonna do that weekend so he can get some pictures with his medal around. And he's gonna wear his tech shirt, his race tech shirt to school that day and take his medal. And he's very excited that he has gym so he could show his gym teacher like that he earned a 5K medal
He's so
that day
cool.
already. So
That's so cool.
we're
That's
we're
gonna be
pretty
exciting.
excited to do that.
Yes, as always, thank you to everyone who did stop. I think I'm missing a couple of names on here, and I know a couple of people stopped and said hi to Sarah as well. Some of those names got to me. I don't think all of them did, but still, thank you for stopping and saying hi to her as well. But at the 10K, we had Marie, Tony, who we've seen all weekend, is in the chat right now. Thank you for your continued support of what we do over here. Nicole, who we saw at the 10K, and actually she'll be in the video for the half marathon, so you will see her as well. Super nice to chat with you on the course. Jean, and then half, Kathy, Chris Whitaker, who has not in this show but has been in multiple shows before in the chat. Claudia, who always stops to say hi to us. We always love chatting with you. And Cindy as well. A lot of these people, like I said, we talked to like mid-race on the course, which was a lot of fun.
Yep. And that's a good testament to like remembering to write their name down. Because as I said, he does not carry his phone with him. So
I do not. I got to sit there and be like, okay, I got to remember this name.
Yeah.
But yeah, as always, if you stopped, we do appreciate it. It's very touching that anyone would want to take the time to come and say hi to us at all,
Yeah.
especially during a very busy weekend like Run Disney.
Yeah.
But I think that is a good spot to leave us out. Thank you all so much for watching. Christy, thank you as always for joining us for our little recap here. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that fun YouTube-y stuff, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.